Welcome to Rich Conversations. Well, what a weekend. Our Greek hero, Giannis Antetokounmpo, overcame one of the biggest obstacles to his journey of winning an NBA championship. Wow, Saturday night was one of the most intense basketball games that I've watched with a rooting interest, right? The Bucks beat the Brooklyn Nets in Game 7 in overtime, and all year, Bucks fans and friends, we've been talking about Brooklyn as really our biggest challenge to winning an NBA title. And then when they acquired James Harden under really distasteful conditions, it just kind of amplified this challenge. And you have teams that are built differently, right? Brooklyn Nets are just, take the easy path. Let's just collect the best talent, no matter how we go about doing it. Let's take the easy path, right? Whereas the Bucks are more homegrown, and they've been working at this, and they've had to hit these walls where in 2019, it's almost like they didn't know how to close out, right? They're up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Raptors, and they lose 4 straight. They just haven't been in that position before. Last year, with the bubble and all the things going on with COVID and social justice issues, the mental focus just wasn't there. And I think this team is one of the most mentally tough teams that I've seen. And it's so incredible. It's so inspiring. It inspires me, to never give up. I love how Giannis, after the game, he talked about, we've been preparing for this moment. Not just for basketball, but for life, where we work hard every single day to put ourselves in a good position. And I think this is relatable to all of us, right? You want to be able to live in that moment and really go after your dreams. When you're there in that position, just give it your all. And I just love that message. Giannis, his story is just so incredible. If you listen to episode 14 of this podcast, you know what I'm talking about. So it's such humble beginnings, and there's kind of this in the NBA. It's interesting because, so now all the national pundits, they're going to talk about Brooklyn not being healthy and whatever. If they were fully assembled, they would easily beat the Bucks, but you can't really control that. What I've seen from teams and superstar players throughout the regular season is that they'll sit out all the time. They'll just rest, right? Because the regular season doesn't matter. It's all about the playoffs. Well, then how come all these injuries are happening in the playoffs, right? Maybe they're not conditioned enough. I don't know. Kyrie, James Harden sat out plenty of games in the regular season to be prepared for the playoffs. But I see this trend in the NBA where people only talk about like the superstar or the one player, whether it's LeBron or KD, Kevin Durant or James Harden. Like, it's a team. It's a team sport, right? And you need everybody to fulfill their end of the role that they're playing and to show up and play at a very high level. It's not just one person. Kevin Durant was spectacular. That was incredible. And the Bucks won in spite of all of that, right? Because Giannis, he put up 40 points in Game 7 and in the 30s, and he's averaging in the 30s. It's like, what a career-defining moment. Game 7 for Giannis. I'm so happy for him, and it's like this weight is off our shoulder. We still have to win 2 more series to be champions, but this was the biggest obstacle because Kevin Durant is so good. And I love Giannis. Giannis, he had a great bucket there in overtime to kind of seal it, and Chris Middleton playing well, and Drew. And it's just a whole – people forget it's the collective. And, in order to reach our dreams and to go out in our journey and fulfill the quest that we're on, we need other people. We need other people to help us out. And in media or in gossip, it's always about one person. It's always about an individual, and I think it's wrong. It's not good. It's not good for culture because it takes a team and so many people behind the scenes to make it happen. You know, even like families, right? You know, there's so much work that goes into it. It's pretty great. I was bartending during Game 7, and we have the big screen on. Felipe in the kitchen, he's wearing his Fear the Deer shirt. We got this Fear the Deer balloon thing in front of me, if you're watching on YouTube, that I got at a game, you know, when they're shooting free throws to distract them. It was at a Philly game, actually. And the room is crowded. This is what you want as a sports fan, is Game 7 and players to show up, superstars, and it goes into overtime. It's like, it's so intense. And I'm like shaking. I'm like trying to make cocktails, and I've got my hands are kind of shaking. Whew. Oh man, what a rush! Game 7. Now we got 2 more series to go. What I love about sports, and I find this more and more, I'm around a lot of creative people in a creative environment where there aren't many sports fans, or there aren't as many sports fans as like I'm used to in different environments in my past, and they don't understand the value that sports brings to life and communities. Perseverance, determination, just work ethic, being objective with the results, right? You win or you lose in sports. It's not subjective, where there's so many excuses that people on, you know, talk shows, talking head shows, and, you know, those debate sports talk shows can make. But it's all about, it's all excuses, right? The Bucks won, period. You know, the better team won. Sports, the results speak for themselves. And I like that as part of life. You can always get better. There's always something to improve on. And taking those lessons of playing sports as a kid and in high school, it's like you want to keep reaching for your potential and getting better and better and better. And you have to stay humble and keep learning and growing. And that can just be applied to life. And I find myself using these like sports metaphors and references all the time. Hitting walls, getting through stuff, fourth quarter, closing out, you know, all these different things. I'm really excited for this journey. And Giannis, this is the start of something incredible. I don't know, like this is, you could see this new wave in the NBA where people my age, like Kevin Durant, James Harden, Steph Curry, they're not in the playoffs anymore. LeBron, who's older than me, is not in the playoffs anymore. You know, there's this new wave of talent that's, you know, going to beat the last generation. And it's really interesting to see. It's weird with like my generation kind of getting beat out now, but it's with Giannis, and that's cool. And he only just continues to get better. He's only 26 years old, 2-time MVP. He's averaging over 30 a game in the series and just clutch. He's just only going to get better. And I think that's what people don't understand. I can't believe there are still Giannis haters. You know, like everybody has flaws in their game and you could just work to get better. Him being so young, he has so much room to grow. And that's what's incredible. And he's going to be in Milwaukee for at least the next 5 years. I'm really optimistic. This is great. I love how the Bucks' trajectory kind of mirrors my own, or I probably mirror that. Like I'm really inspired. I use sports as inspiration and performance as inspiration for the things that I do, and It's magical. This has been like a stream of consciousness. I've been a good good spot. Go Bucks. Bucks in 6.